Source: Kimono Jihen. Welcome back to AniRecaps. Like and subscribe so you never miss our quality uploads.
Kids are hearing that a guy from Tokyo is coming and are getting excited, wanting to come and see him at Yataro's village. Yataro agrees as long as they don't disturb the guest. He sees Kabane and tells him to stay there as he stinks. Meanwhile, the man from Tokyo, Kohachi Inugami, gets a flat tire, but Mrs. Kusaka, his client and hostess of Kanoko Villa, takes him with his car. On their way, she explains that rotting livestock bodies have been appearing and people are getting scared, but are keeping it a secret from the children. At the villa, Inugami sees Kabane in the field and greets him, but Kabane just bows, causing Inugami to think that he is either shy or hard worker who doesn't even go to school. While taking a bath in the hot spring, Yataro comes and introduces himself as the hostess' son, and that he will be taking care of him during his stay. Yataro happily talks about Tokyo and how he wants to live there. Inugami asks him about the other boy, and Yataro explains he is Dorotabo, nicknamed like a yokai that lives in the fields. But as he also has bad odor, they can't him do any work with guests. After the bath, Inugami requests that boy to take care of him from now on. In the morning, Kabane takes a bath and brings breakfast to Inugami. Inugami then introduces himself and explains that he is there on an investigation and asks Kabane if he had seen anything strange. Kabane wants to leave and talk after breakfast due to his odor, as other people can't eat while he is around, but Inugami explains he doesn't mind it. Kabane guesses the investigation is about the rotting corpses and explains he is in charge of disposing them, but they always appear after new moon. There is a new moon in 5 days, and Inugami decides to stay and starts helping with Kabane's daily work. While working on the field, Inugami notices the stone around Kabane's neck. Kabane tells him it probably belonged to his parents and they gave it to him when he was abandoned. He then inspects it and realizes that it's a rare life stone, which is formed only under special circumstances. As it's precious, his parents wouldn't have left it on him, which means he wasn't abandoned. Inugami asks Kabane if he wishes to meet his parents, and while not fully sure, Kabane guesses he may want to see them. On the night of the new moon, while waiting for Inugami, Yataro approaches Kabane and blames him for ruining his chances in going to Tokyo. He snatches Kabane's life calculus, to which MC gets pissed and punches that brat. He gets transformed into a thirsty, horrifying-looking demon. Yataro pees his pants and runs like a snotty brat. Once Kabane takes it back, he returns to normal. Later, Inugami finds our main boy, who blames himself for being the real culprit. Inugami then shows him his tail and explains that kimono exists and usually they don't get involved with humans. He tells Kabane that he is a hybrid between human and yokai, that his life calculus prevents his thirst from manifesting, and that there is another culprit. Kabane gets worried about Yataro as he doesn't know about the incidents occurring during New Moon. While running, Yataro recalls how he accidentally had killed Kabane when he was younger, but later that day he came back like nothing had happened. Yataro then gets attacked by 2 infected dogs, but Inugami shoots and decapitates one, while Kabane breaks the neck of the other. They hear some noise and notices a monster deer eating a dog. The deer then attacks them and Inugami shoots at its neck, almost decapitating her. Kabane then jumps in, putting his hand into the deer mouth and then ripping its head from the body. While returning, Kabane comments he can't stay as Yataro knows what he is, and they will blame all on him. Inugami then points his gun at Kabane, telling him that Mrs. Kusaka had hired him to kill him, as she also knew what he was as her older sister had told her when she left Kabane with her. As the incidents occurred, she feared it may have been Kabane and decided to kill him. Even though the culprit is dead, she won't believe that it's not Kabane. Kabane understands and accepts it. Inugami asks him about his name and if he wishes to see his parents, but Kabane denies with a smile and asks to be killed. Inugami then shoots him in the head. At the end, he shows Kabane's body to that bitch and tells her he will dispose of the body. MC later wakes in Inugami's car. He tells him that he is in yokai and can't die, but identity Dorotabo is dead. Inugami takes our boy to his counseling office and gives him some clothes. As he changed clothes, 2 other boys drops in and wonders who is Kabane. Inugami introduces the other 2 children who work at the office to Kabane, who is Akira and Shiki. He then asks Kabane if he wants to work there and tells Kabane he doesn't need to answer right away. Akira then asks if Kabane is also a kimono since he smells a little unusual. Inugami reveals that Kabane is an immortal demon and human hanyo, which makes him similar to Shiki. Shiki then points out that the clothes Kabane is wearing is his. Kabane proceeds to remove his clothes, to which Shiki declines, telling he doesn't want it anymore. Shiki then asks Kabane his age. Kabane reveals his age to be around 13 and Shiki tells that he is 14, realizes he was 1 year older and acted superior before going to the bathroom. He also tells Inugami that he will not share a room with him and let Kabane sleep on the sofa. Akira then introduces himself, and Kabane told him he was a pretty girl, which made Akira cry and saying he was a boy and then stormed off. Later, Shiki was sitting with Kabane and eating pizza. He tells Kabane he doesn't like him and that he won't be his friend, and Kabane accepted that. Shiki wonders why Kabane wasn't eating and told him to eat some. Looking at the pizza, Kabane commented how he never had one, which shocked Shiki. So he gave his pizza to Kabane to eat all out. He watches him struggle with the cheese and laughs. He forgot to keep his tsundere act, so he acted cold with him again. Later in bed, Shiki tells Akira repeatedly that he hates Kabane, but Akira told him it was probably because the first hybrids he have ever seen. Akira guesses why Kabane must be there, as likely he had no other place to be, so Shiki can go and ask Inugami, but that annoyed Shiki, telling Akira to go and ask. Akira got annoyed and went to sleep, and Shiki having no choice. Kabane was going to the bathroom. He trips and notices a silk thread. Shiki appears and then asks him why he came there. At first, Kabane replies that it was a car, but then tells him he was looking for his parents. Shiki told him they were probably dead. Kabane tried to get up, but the web was holding him. Shiki warned him to not try as it won't come off. But Kabane forced it and frees himself. Shiki stops him and asks if it doesn't hurt. Kabane's leg then heals, which Shiki sees. Kabane then asks Shiki if he can now go to the bathroom and leaves. The next day, the four are then on a job. On the way, Inugami tells the three to get along in the work, and a perfect way to show what kimonoists do. After arriving at the scene, the investigator tells them that there is a mother, a child, and a rescuer inside. They see a crying child outside the room who must be siblings. Inugami was asked to look through the door and ask the investigators how long it's been like that. The investigator responds that it's been 20 or 30 minutes. He then orders the three to look at the scene. They look through the door and see the room infected with sanshi bugs feeding on the people inside. Akira screams and backs out near the door. Inugami describes that the bugs are harmless insects that just take a bit of your skin while sleeping, but also have a favorite thing to eat. It sees anyone who tries to take their food as their enemy. The investigator then asks Inugami if there is anything they can do. Inugami responds that he can eliminate them 100%. He then transforms his body into steel in secret and tells that the people inside have a 50% chance of being saved. A rescuer then goes inside but is eaten also by the bugs. The investigator then insists to burn them to keep the civilian population safe. A child then appears saying they are not dead and to help them. While everyone is panicking and Inugami buying time, Shiki volunteers to do the job and will use his silk. Shiki shoots threads of silk in the room and creates a spider web. Shiki then uses it to make the bugs stick to it and move towards him. However, the bugs eat the web, causing it to collapse. After Shiki failed, Kabane volunteers to go in himself. Inugami then gives his permission and orders to him. Kabane then goes inside the room and is immediately attacked by the bugs. However, he doesn't feel pain since he is a yokai. While bugs are attacking him, he finds that one of the people is holding it. Inugami then orders Kabane to lift it and successfully removes the bugs from the people. After the job, Akira says that those are strange bugs and what their favorite food is. Inugami replies that sanshi bugs feed on the feeling of guilt and tells Kabane that the shoes retrieved are probably stolen. The young boy from earlier came running to them and gave thanks to Kabane for saving his family. The boy then asks the reason the bugs appeared in their house, and Inugami advises him that as long as they don't do anything bad, it will be fine, and instructs the boy to return the shoes. The young boy is shocked and tells them that their mother always put them above herself, and one day his younger brother brought shoes to their home and he knew it was stolen. The younger brother's face went white and bugs appeared on his body. Their mother covered his younger brother even though she was afraid of bugs. Kabane then wonders about family and asks Inugami if he works for him, would he be able to meet his parents? Inugami then asks Kabane for the third time if he really wants to meet his parents. Since he lied the last time, Kabane responds yes. Inugami then tells Kabane that he can live at the office. After arriving back at the office, Shiki shares that his mom is in a ratching. Kabane asks if she is alive, to which Shiki replies that he doesn't know and they are probably not looking for him. Kabane says otherwise, that maybe they are alive and looking for them. This annoyed Shiki, who told him that if they get separated from their parents, then they would go look for them. But since they didn't, they are either dead or abandoned them. Kabane still believed their parents didn't abandon them and that they are alive. But even if they were dead, they still need to find out who they were. Shiki then, with embarrassed face, shows where Kabane's room is. Inugami talks to someone over the phone and reports the finished job and talks about Kabane. While sleeping, Kabane wakes up saying that he can't sleep since it is so cushy. Inugami orders Shiki to bring Kabane to Yoko Inari. Inugami then calls Kabane and gives him a good luck charm. Meanwhile, Inari arrives at the Shinjuku police station and is greeted by the police. Shiki, Akira, and Kabane arrive at the Shinjuku station and directly goes to the Shinjuku police station. Upon arriving, they ask to see Inari, however, is declined by the officer at the reception desk. A young girl appears them whose name is Kan and asks who of the three is Kabane. Kabane reveals himself. Kan then tells him that Inari is asking for the boy and orders Kabane to follow her. Before Shiki is able to follow along, Kan stops him saying that Inari only wants Kabane. Kabane proceeds to follow Kan and leaves. Being pushed inside by Kan, Kabane enters the room and sees Inari. Inari tells Kabane to show the life stone, which Kabane, with no hesitation, hands it over. She proceeds to tell Kabane all about his life stone. Suddenly, Kabane's head is decapitated by Kan. Inari orders the police, which is under her spell, to collect his head and dispose his body and Kan to deal with Kabane's friends. A Kabane look-alike appears before Shiki and Akira, holding a briefcase. Curious as to what's inside the case, Akira asks him. Kabane responds that it is given to him and needs to deliver it to the room later. Akira notices something different with Kabane. Upon hearing Shiki mock Inari, Kabane transforms himself, which reveals to be Kan in disguise. Kan proceeds to attack the two using her flames. During the battle, Shiki manages to steal a briefcase from Kan. Upon opening, they see Kabane's head, which made Akira unconsciousness. Afraid of the thought of not being a good girl to Inari, Kan proceeds to look for them at the building. Kabane tells Shiki to throw him at her and he will take her down. Remembering how Kabane dealt with the bugs, Shiki executes Kabane's plan by throwing him. Kabane manages land a deep bite on Kan's shoulders, which made her unconscious. Upon taking down Kan, the illusion is gone at the police station. Kabane grows back his body. The three leaves and sees Inugami waiting for them outside. Inari is seen riding a taxi and sees the life stone change its appearance into a Tanuki doll. She then receives a call from Inugami. Inugami tells Inari that the life stone belongs to Kabane and next time she will be dealing with him. It turns out Kabane is hiding the life stone inside his mouth. Kan is seen struggling to walk after being attacked by Kabane. After Inugami and others went to dinner and goes back to the office, is seen Kan at a distance, which eventually falls down. She is given pizza and tells Inugami that she needs to retrieve Kabane's head. After a while, a client appears at their doorstep. A client arrives at the bar. Kabane asks the reason why half of the place is a bar. Shiki reveals that it originally belongs to Inugami's partner, and they don't know what they are up to, telling Kabane not to ask Inugami about it since it is a sensitive subject. A client shares his unrequited love for a woman, even telling that he wants to know information about her and his heart aches because of her. Akira then describes it as love. Hearing it as ko, Kan shares that she loves koi. Akira then shows his support to the client's love, which grosses Shiki out. Meanwhile, Kabane then approaches Inugami and asks that if he follow the gentleman, he might find out about his parents and asks if he could find love. Speechless by Kabane's thought, Inugami just gives his permission and he will give her Kabane's head as reward. The man, whose name is Yuruno, gives them the details. Just then, he sees a rat under the table and proceeds to chase and catch it and reveals a bag full of rats as a present to the woman. Akira becomes terrified of the sight and pukes in the bathroom. Inugami then tells that it is a work of a Nekomata. After a while, Inugami suggests Akira to sit the job out since it could be terrifying for him. Yuruno with Shiki, Kabane, and Akira meet up at Shinjuku. Yuruno reveals a picture of her to them. They then wait for Mao to finish her shift and sees a cat go out from the establishment. Kabane and the others follow the cat and tells her about Yuruno's love for her. Yuruno then confesses his love to her. After the job, Inugami then proceeds to give Kabane's head an illusion. The next day, it turns out that Yuruno kept Mao as a pet cat and the two are living together. Akira reveals to Inugami that he becomes Kabane's apprentice. Kabane and Akira is then given a job in Shibuya. Kabane is then briefed about the Shibuya rivers. Kabane arrives at the underground river and Akira arrives on a full medical suit with a mask on. The two then proceeds to go at the underground river. Akira also shares his childhood to Kabane. Suddenly, a frog kimono grabs Akira from above. Kabane manages to free Akira. Just as the frog-like species tries to attack again, a tanuki appears out of nowhere and bites the frog kimono. The tanuki then reveals a pouch, a letter, and blood in a container from Inugami. The two reads the letter, which contains information about the frog kimonos lurking at the river. Akira then ponders about the foe fighting them, but also recalls the reason he went to Tokyo and decides to fight. Akira pours the blood at the river to lure the frog kimonos. A bunch of frog kimonos appear and begin to attack them. While Kabane and the tanuki are fighting, Akira trembles and recalls what Yu said, that he is weak. Akira tells himself that he wants to be useful. Suddenly, Akira emits ice, causing the frog kimonos and the surroundings to be frozen. The leader of the frog kimono thanks the tanuki, which reveals to be Inugami. Kabane is cleaning the office when he is dragged by someone into a room. Akira and Shiki approaches Inugami since they are concerned about him suddenly disappearing. The three run to the room at the end of the hallway to which Kabane is cleaning and see Kabane following the orders of a certain Mihai. Akira and Shiki is shocked to see Mihai living in the room all this time. Mihai then introduces himself and declares Kabane as his official wayperson. Kabane then obliges to it without any hesitation. Inugami proceeds to tell the group about Mihai and orders them to stay away from him. The next day, Shiki and Akira again see Kabane at Mihai's room, ordering him around. Shiki aggressively tells Mihai to not treat Kabane as a slave. As a response to Shiki's statement, Mihai proposes a deal that if they beat him in arm wrestling, he will set Kabane free. However, Shiki loses. Akira then thinks MC might be able to win against him since he is overpowered. So Kabane then offers to arm wrestle Mihai. However, Kabane is also defeated just like Shiki, which surprises everyone. Inugami tells them how Mihai was toying with him. He has brute strength considering he is a vampire. As MC goes out to buy supper, he thinks about his defeat with Mihai and tells himself to get stronger. At the park, Kabane encounters Kan. Kan reveals that Inari doesn't need Kabane's head anymore, and as soon as she brought Kabane's head to her, she saw another kitsune serving her. Kabane offers Kan in a match. The two engage in a match and Kan loses. She cries over her loss and being weak. Back at the office, Inugami is shocked to see Mihai leave his room. Mihai reveals that his arm is broken by Kabane and will take 1 week to heal. Hence, he can't play games and decides to help Inugami in his work. He accepts a job with no permission of Inugami. Back at the park, Kabane comforts Kan and falls asleep. Kabane then offers Kan to stay at their place, however, Kan refuses, saying she can't live with a Tenuki and proposes she can live with Kabane at the park. Kabane refuses, saying that he has a chore and will be back soon. At the office, Mihai tells the three about new case. Shiki is seen training, using his sweat to produce silks. Akira and Kabane is seen arriving at the Bug by Electronics. Mihai leads and instructs them remotely. It is revealed that Inugami is locked in a room. Shiki manages to enter the building with his RC car, Mihai Magnum. While surveying the place, Shiki stumbles upon a room full of workers. Suddenly, a worker goes out of the room, crying out of desperation. While trying to leave, the worker is stopped by the manager Kaga and lures the worker in an empty room and sucks out his brain. Bored Mihai then tests the boy's bravery by alerting the enemy. Damn, what a sadistic guy. The boy then gets spooked. He can't seem to make his body move. Mihai then scares him more, but do help him by giving him info on how to beat it. Meanwhile, Kabane defeats the other mosquitoes. Shiki hits Mihai's car and musters up courage to fight. After he defeats it and others shows up, the final boss appears. It kills its sisters and easily defeats Shiki and Akira and even overpowers Kabane with her strength. Kabane knows that she is much more powerful than he is, but he won't give up because he knows that if she defeats him, he will not die, but she will kill Shiki and Akira, so he struggles until he breaks his wrists. Mihai steps in and tells him that the reason he hasn't been able to defeat him or the boss is because Kabane is using only his human strength and not Kimono's strength, and that he needs to using his heart or his most powerful desire to fuel his Kimono powers. To protect his friends, he finally awakens his hidden OP powers and defeats the boss like Saitama. He realizes the increase of this strength, and now he has control over it. A kitsune from Inari's agency named Nobumaru shows up and cleans up the mess. Nobumaru tells MC secretly that Inari is still after Kabane's life stone but doesn't want to make Inugami angry, so she hopes to settle by having Kabane willingly give it up. He also whispers saying he hates Lady Inari. A few days later, Kabane follows Shiki around the entire day because he was worried about him, which pretty much annoys Shiki. MC feels heartwarming to everyone alive and well. Suddenly, he remembers that he made a promise with Khan several days prior and runs off and finds her exactly where she said she would wait. It turned out that she had been waiting for him the entire time and even caught some fish so they could eat it together. MC finally learns the meaning of guilt. He admits that he forgot about her and apologizes. Nobumaru is seen spying on both of them. Back at the office, Shiki tells Inugami that he wants to learn something about his parents. Inugami, Akira, Shiki, and Kabane are on their way to Kinshigo in order to meet Shiki's parents. Upon arriving, Inugami takes care of their lodge. Meanwhile, the others visit a souvenir place. Shiki notices a young girl enter the shop. After a while, Inugami arrives with Akio Tadmaru, Shiki's uncle. The group goes to the forest. Akio introduces himself as Shiki's father, younger brother, and someone who knows a lot about kimono. Akio then goes straight to the issue about Shiki's mother. He reveals that together with his brother, they went to the forest to learn about the legend of Nishikugumo. And that's where they encountered Shiki's mother, and the rest of the story has been already told to Shiki. Akira and Kabane worries about Shiki, and when Shiki arrives, they ask him about the news. Shiki reveals that both of his parents are dead. Later, Kabane, Akira, and Shiki is seen bathing. Suddenly, Nobumura appears, and since he saw that there are only 3 of them in the bathhouse, he reveals himself as a kitsune. Noticing that the 3 seems down, he suggests for them to go explore the forest since there are fireflies. The 4 then arrives at the forest and sees a bunch of fireflies. Kabane gives his thanks to Nobumaru, and Nobumaru says he is happy for him. While wandering, Shiki finds a familiar tree and says that he used it as a landmark. Suddenly, he remembers that he used to go right from the tree. Shiki then starts to run and finds a cabin. He remembers that time that at the other side of the door is something that is way more disgusting. As Shiki opens the door, he recalls what he saw when he was young. It was her mom being impregnated by a kimono. As they follow Shiki to the cabin, Nobumaru finds an artificial insemination catheter and wonders why is it there. He also finds blood and scratch marks. Nobumaru then suddenly remembers a certain kimono incident in which a certain item called healing silk appeared in the human market, and Lady Inari suppressed it before it became public. A certain human was blacklisted back then. Meanwhile, Inugami goes to Akio's room and tells him he wants to talk to him. Nobumaru reveals the man that is blacklisted to be Akio Tadamuru. Nobumaru further tells that the place and the kimono incident is related, and the place is used as a test site to create the golden spider webbing. Shiki recalls his memories when he was young, when he tried to save his mother from the monster but suddenly felt a flow on his head and lost consciousness. Upon waking up, he sees his uncle, that his mother is safe, however her injuries are severe and will take a long time to recover. At some point, Shiki felt like his uncle was lying and he ran from the truth. He realized that he should have questioned his uncle that time since he believes his mother won't throw him away. Shiki then tells Nobumaru that they want each other to share information. Shiki then tells them that he don't want to go by Husgut, but if all are connected, he won't forgive his uncle and kill him. Shiki asks Kabane if he's going to stop him, to which Kabane responds that he won't be stopping him since he chose it, and offers if there is anything he can help. Shiki gives his thanks to Kabane. Meanwhile, at the forest, Inugami is having a conversation with Akio. While Akio is telling him that when goes to Kinshigo sometimes he remembers things. Inugami mentions the golden spider webbing. Akio becomes frozen and tells Inugami that he keeps getting on his way and what did he do wrong. Inugami then asks Akio how he was born. Akio confesses his doings, to which it was revealed that all this time Shiki is listening to their conversation through call, and Shiki restrains Akio. Shiki restrains Akio after hearing about his past deeds, which made Shiki angry. Akio asks Inugami if he is okay with the children killing, to which Inugami says he's already resigned to it. Just then, Akira arrives, crying and covered in dirt. Kimono appears behind Akira and tries to attack him. Inugami manages to protect Akira on time but was poisoned by a venom. The two were both dragged by the kimono, leaving the 3 to deal with Akio. A group of kimonos appear in Akio's aid, which reveals to be Shiki's siblings, all of them being a result of Akio's experiments. Shiki hears his mother's words through his siblings, which made him break down. Nobumaru suggests to Kabane for them to deal with it. However, Kabane gives no response and approaches Shiki if he needs help. Shiki cries and asks for Kabane's help. Meanwhile, Inugami and Akira is separated from his group. Unable to produce a gun, Inugami asks Akira if he could freeze his arm, to which he does. Just as a kimono would be attacking them, the young girl appears and orders the kimonos not to attack them. She then offers Inugami to come with her in order to heal his arm. Kabane continues to deal with the kimonos with only goal in mind to kill Akio. On the other hand, the young girl leads Inugami and Akira into a spring, which eventually heals Inugami's arm. The young girl begs for them not to kill Akio, since there is still something she needs to ask him. Kabane defeats all the kimonos and approaches Akio. He throws him near Shiki, saying that he can do whatever he wants to him. Shiki thanked Kabane for dealing with the kimonos. Shiki then reveals that he had realized that killing his uncle won't bring his mother back. Just then, Inugami and Akira arrive together with a young girl whose name is Aya. Akio is shocked to see Aya at the woods. Shiki becomes intrigued as to why Akio gets so worked up. Aya asks Akio the location where he hid the cocoon she made. Akio refuses to reveal the information and controls Aya. Shiki begins to think about his uncle's personality over the years. Aya tells Shiki she can't reveal who she is or otherwise she will be hated by him. Inugami tracks down the cocoon and contacts Mihai to ask for info about Akio. Mihai reveals about Akio's 4 places he regularly checks on. Upon hearing about a spring, Aya rushes to it, to which she is followed by Shiki. Akio tries to stop her but failed. Aya realizes the reason the spring has detoxifying effects is because Cocoon was dissolved there, just as Aya tries to dive into the spring. Shiki offers to do it instead. After some time underneath, he finds his mother wrapped in a cocoon. Shiki resurfaces and goes back. Aya asks him if he finds the cocoon. Shiki asks if it was her doing and if his mother is still alive. Aya reveals her full name and her true identity of being the Golden Webbing. Inugami, Kabane holding Aikio, Akira, and Nobumaru rushes to the area and sees Shiki's mother. Aikio reveals that he need to keep Kuma close in hand and in case something happened to Aya. And the idea of mass production. Shiki punches Aikio. He then proceeds to tell Inugami he wants to move his mother on a safe place and decides not to kill Aikio. He also asks Aya to come with them. The group leaves and goes back to Tokyo. Meanwhile, Aikio is confronted by Nobumaru and was killed. That bastard definitely deserved that. Later, after all the shit show, the group arrives at a clinic run by Inugami's friend. Inugami tells it was an urgent case and an old granny appears before them. She proceeds to check Kumi's state and tells them her condition might be something psychological. She reassures Shiki that she will wake up. She then lets the group stay over the night. The group leaves both Shiki and Aya and goes to sleep. Kabane and Akira are already asleep. Meanwhile, Shiki is still at his mother's side. With no courage to open the door, Aya reminisces about her memories with her mother and how she learned that she has a big brother who believes he will rescue her and her mother. Suddenly, Shiki calls out to her and encourages her to enter the room. Aya asks Shiki if he doesn't hate her and why won't he kill her like the other kimonos. Shiki responds that it is because she kept their mother alive and glad he met her. Aya then cries after hearing Shiki's words. Kumi then wakes up and sees her children beside her. The three hug each other. 1 week later, back at the agency, Shiki is absent, which is revealed that Shiki decided to stay at the hospital for a while to take care of his mother. However, they are surprised when Shiki arrives at the agency and has no plans on quitting, and promises Kabane to help him find his parents as thanks for helping him. Aya also arrives at the agency with a completely different aura and personality. She then reports to Inugami that she decided to work with Granny Ohana.
You're so cool, Kabane, and I love the way you think. I saw what you did in the woods, how you stood up for my brother and brought Tademaru down. You don't have a girlfriend, do you? Because we should totally go out.
What? Fine with me.
During the commotion at the agency, Khan arrives and challenges Kabane to a match. Inugami interrupted the children's fun and talks about a new job. The news reports about incidents where women's faces are being ripped. Kabane, Aya, and Khan take on the job. The three arrive at Harajuku where the incidents happen. Khan volunteers to handle the job, boasting that she is Inari's subordinate. However, she isn't recognized and is ignored by the police officer. Kabane then introduces themselves as part of the Inugami Detective Agency and the officer leads them the way. While doing the job, Khan develops a jealous feeling over Kabane and Aya. She is then distracted by a voice saying it will help her. Soon, Aya's hair was grabbed by something which Kabane manages to hit. A kimono, who is revealed to be a katanashi, shows herself and explains her intentions of ripping women's faces in order to impress the boy she loves. She then points out Khan being in pain. While being questioned by Aya about what is wrong with her, Khan gets angry and transforms into her kitsune form and tries to attack Aya, but Kabane manages to protect her, making Khan run away from the both of them. Aya and Kabane arrive back at the agency. Aya reveals that she gave the katanashi a body to make her look human. Aya then leaves and gives Kabane a goodbye kiss, which makes her brother get irritated. Later that night, Kabane sees Khan crying. Kabane comforts Khan, which made her feel better. Khan reveals that she wants to be the most important to Kabane. Kabane responds saying he doesn't know what to do. Meanwhile, Inugami accompanies Kumi to memorialize her deceased kimono children. Kumi gives her thanks to Inugami for also keeping it a secret. The next day, Aya arrives again at the agency and so is Khan, where the two then bicker with each other over our main boy. Finally, wholesome harem. Akira then decides to take action and asks Kabane to choose his lover, to which Kabane says that it is Inugami, which makes him Aya and Khan's assassination target. The next day, Akira gets a flashback about his twin brother from his childhood. During the next days, Akira is seen causing problems all over the place, even at the job, including not plugging the kettle, breaking a vase, accidentally letting out the cats, and spilling food. Sheki gets mad at him, and due to this, Akira decides to leave the agency and takes on a journey. While roaming the streets, he encounters his brother, Yui. Akira proceeds to ask him what he is doing all this time. Meanwhile, At the agency, Kabane and Shiki finishes a job, to which Shiki says that it is easier to finish without Akira. Yua builds Akira Ice Castle. Akira then requests for more creations to Yua. While trying to take pictures of the place, Yua gets Akira's phone, freezes it, and breaks it, telling Akira that he won't be needing it. Yua leaves, telling Akira not to leave the place, and finds them food outside. Back at the agency, Shiki fails to make a proper beef stew. Kabane, on the other hand, gives his opinion about the beef stew, which made Shiki irritated. He then tells Kabane to buy some dinner. Shiki washes the plates but constantly breaks them as he washes them. After buying dinner and arriving back, Kabane tells Shiki that he realizes that Akira is good at something very important. And the reason they have never problems before is because Akira. Kabane then tells Shiki for them to find Akira, to which Shiki agree. While browsing, Inugami sees a post about Ice Castle. Then all of them goes to that location. Yu comes out and gets asked by the reporter if he's the owner of the castle. Just as he is about to freeze the reporter, Inugami shoots in his hand, stopping him. Inugami then proceeds to ask Yui what happened at the Snow Village, since the calculus is forbidden to take out. Yu refuses to answer him, but instead, he gives his thanks for taking care of Akira. Yu then asks the three what are their relationship to Akira. Kabane responds that they are Akira's best friends. He asks Yu if Akira is inside the castle. Meanwhile, inside the castle, Akira begins to worry about his brother. A stuffed toy proceeds to reveal that Yu's temperature around his heart is extremely low. It may affect him physically and mentally. Yu then comes back to the castle and tells Akira that the furnishings he requested are done. He orders him to come down. Instead, Akira sees his friends frozen. Kabane and the others try to bring Akira home from the ice castle, but are stopped by the power of Yu's nullstone. Akira then tries to overcome with shock at the turn of events. Meanwhile, Inari and Nobumaru secretly go into action to claim the nullstone. Yu fights with Nobumaru. When Akira calls out to Yu, which made Yu distracted, Nobumaru gets a chance to approach Yu and touch the null calculus. However, Nobumaru wasn't able to stand the calculus power, resulting to it injuring his hands. While trying to think on how to retrieve the calculus, Yu comes after him. Suddenly, Kabane shows up in order to help Nobumaru. Together with Nobumaru, Kabane devises a plan in order to take down Yui. He sets his body on fire and attacks Yu, which melts Yu's ice. Yu covers his body with ice. Meanwhile, Akira still tries to get out of the ice cage. He suddenly realizes that the fog is made of water and tries to use his power to create a large piece of ice that will break the cage he is in. Kabane and Yui engage in a continuous fight. Nobumaru then reminds Kabane that his body will fall apart if the flames overpowered his regeneration skill. However, Kabane insists for Nobumaru to put him in flames. Kabane manages to fully melt Yu's ice on his body. Just as Kabane is about to blow the second attack, Akira steps in and stops him. Yu's body starts to break, which is a result of the calculus absorbing his life. As Akira tries to remove the calculus from his brother, he suddenly sees a vision of his brother when they were young. He then realizes that Yu sacrificed himself for him in order to protect him. Learning what his brother went through, Akira cries and tells his brother they will share happiness and fun from now on. Kabane rushes to Akira's side and tries to help Akira. He spits out the life calculus, which is combined with the nil calculus. Just then, Inari interferes. Shiki and Inugami also arrive at the scene. Inugami tells Inari to give the calculus back since it belongs to Kabane. Inari proceeds to toss back the combined calculus, since it would be useless for her, say, if she can't hold off the nil calculus. Before leaving, Kabane offers Nobumaru to come with them in order for Aya to fix his hand. However, Nobumaru refuses, saying it's a result of his own lack of skills, and leaves with Lady Inari. After that, they goes to Granny Ohana's hospital in order for Yu to get some rest. Akira then apologizes to Kabane. Yu wakes up and thanks Kabane for saving him. Kabane then politely asks Yu to tell him about calculus, since he needs leads to find his parents. Inugami proceeds to tell them about the war between kimonos and humans, and there are other calculus like Kabane's. Yu recalls the thing he had done, and Inugami dismisses it, as it happens all the time. Akira then tells Yu for them to be together all the time. In response, Yu apologizes to Akira. The group then poses for a photo. Meanwhile, Khan encounters Nobumaru in front of her. Khan becomes alert and cautious around him. However, Nobumaru tells Khan that Inari has a special mission for her, which made Khan delighted. Nobumaru then gives the order, which is to persuade Kabane and retrieve the kimono calculi. She was stunned hearing that, but eventually accepts. After that, the whole group goes to Mihai's room to get the stuffed toy repaired. Akira then goes out to travel with his brother. On the other hand, Inugami and Kabane also go out to travel in order to find other calculus. During their departure, Khan appears before them. She also wants to join them on their trip. With this, we end today's video. There will be part 2 when the anime studio decides to create season 2. For now, there hasn't been any news. Meanwhile, watch our other content posted on our channel and stay safe. Bye.